Hello, everyone, and happy Sunday. Looks like Angry has the wrong link, so let me just try and get him the correct link again. So sorry about this, but Angry has been at it all morning doing live streams. Let's see, he wants me to email the link, so hold on one second, guys. Just wanted to be on time so you guys know I'm here. And let's see. He just sent me his email. Okay. Sorry, guys. There we go. Sent. All right. So Angry Astronaut should be on shortly with us. But hello, everyone. We are back live. This is day 2 of much better studio lighting. And we have some people from Florida watching. We have, wow, a big hello from Damien from Ireland. That is awesome. And yeah, like I said, Angry has been going live already today. He is seriously such a hard worker for you all, and looks like he just got added to the stream. So hello. Oh, he's getting his mic ready. Don't worry, guys. There we go.
Test.
You're a little low on the audio, I think.
Oh, that's fine. I know why.
You know why?
I do. Am I better now?
Better, much better, much better.
How you doing?
Well, I was going to say I'm good, but I'm a little bit bummed about the re-injury, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. How someone just wrote someone died. No, this is Angry Astronaut's look. How are you? I was actually just watching your live stream shortly before this one, and thanks for shouting out our live stream, and you gave some great information that I would love to dive into, but how are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm tired. I've had a lot going on. My son graduated, and I had a lot of family in town, and had to keep creating content at the same time. So, and it's been a very busy day today.
All right. Well, thank you for fitting in some time with us. So I guess let's get straight to it. If you want to make your announcement first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can put up the AstroLiz GoFundMe page that she has. It's an organization in the United Kingdom that we're doing fundraising for this week that helps young women and girls in the United Kingdom pursue a career in space, a career in STEM. Something that's very important to me personally because my daughter also is pursuing a career in STEM. She will be leaving tomorrow morning to intern at GE to design and build modular nuclear reactors.
Wow.
So yeah, it's important to me, and it's this young lady, AstroLiz. She has a science package aboard the Peregrine lander that's on its will be on its way to the moon on the Vulcan Centaur. Super excited about that. So yeah, this is a fantastic cause. It's something I've raised money for in the past, and anybody who's contributed to my GoFundMe, I'm asking you to not do so this week and instead contribute to
Is it
AstroLiz.
this AstroLiz fund?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna link that in the comments,
Thank
and
you.
I'm gonna make a banner for that really quickly. And so yes, that's awesome. That is a great cause to support here. So if you guys are interested in that, I will keep this up for a little bit. But first and foremost, obviously, you talked a lot about Starship and kind of an update with Kathy Lueders being hired on 3 weeks ago, and then also some Starship lunar components that we are speculating have arrived. So,
Yes.
where do you want to start?
Yeah, well, I mean, all of this is encouraging news. I mean, Kathy Leaders, wouldn't have taken this job if there wasn't something tangible developing with HLS. And HLS was kind of that, and Commercial Crew was kind of her baby when she was at NASA. She's the one who wrote the report, the findings that NASA had when they decided to go with Lunar Starship and HLS. So she has a personal interest invested in this. And the fact that she has decided to now lead the program that she recommended at SpaceX, that's kind of unique. I don't think any former NASA employee has tried to do something like that before on this kind of level. So yeah, taking the bull by the horns and seeing to it that this thing lands on the moon. So not only is that encouraging in terms of getting Starship, the fact that Lunar Starship will be a successful program, but also given the importance that it represents to NASA, that encourages me that there's going to be some powerful forces at work seeing to it that Starship will launch again from Boca.
Right. And I was reading, apparently she is working down at Starbase and she's reporting directly to Gwyn. So
Mm-hmm.
good luck to her in the bugs and the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's I guess accustomed to hot weather, and the times that she spent at NASA. I
Right.
guess between, the bopping around between Houston and the Cape and stuff, I'm sure she experienced a lot of that in the past.
Right. Right. Um, so I haven't talked to you yet about the lawsuit going on. And it sounds like you're thinking that this won't be an extreme hang up for the Starship program.
That's what I'm hoping. We'll put it that way. I mean, it's. I mean, I'm pretty certain that the FAA will have some obligation to give Starship and SpaceX some action items, things they'll have to do, because unfortunately, the way that the FAA laid out the PEA and the guarantees that they essentially made, that even in the event of a pad anomaly, the debris and everything will not go outside of this area. And it did. I mean, stuff went well beyond that region. And so, that being the case, then, they'll probably have to take some action to guarantee that this doesn't happen again. However, I mean, the judge is not, as a reputation for generally not being on the side of environmental concerns as much. So I really don't see the federal decision coming down to substantially obstruct this program for 1 or 2 years. I don't see that happening.
Well, and it sounds like the thing that you're most concerned about, or at least the hurdle for Starship, is the orbital refueling in low Earth orbit. So that's a much bigger concern for you than, the lawsuit, correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's going to be a lot more difficult. That's a big technical hurdle and something that we have never done before, especially on this scale.
Right, right. So tell me about, because is there any picture that we can pull up of these lunar components that maybe on Twitter?
Yeah, there's the RGV, those guys,
Okay.
the eye in the sky people. They take photographs of every new component that shows up. And
Do you
so
think
there's
it's
just
worth pulling up? Is it worth pulling up?
yeah, oh yeah,
Okay,
sure, I
okay.
think so. I mean, there's just a lot of things that are not easily identified, and I mean, they can pretty easily point out all the components that they're used to seeing. And now all of a sudden, in the immediate aftermath of Kathy being hired there, they have all these mystery components. I think and they're not parts of the water cooled plate or anything like that. They don't bear any resemblance to that. So that, is leading people to believe that we've got something else going on.
Right. By the way, shout out RGV Aerial Photography, doing great work. And here just posted yesterday aerial view of stage 0. So, but that's not the one that we're talking about, right?
Yeah, still looks pretty chewed up around there right now, the concrete and everything.
Now you stayed when we were both there waiting for the road to be reopened. You stayed, correct? And you went and explored
Yeah,
kind
I
of
did.
the
I filmed a lot
the
over there. Yeah.
graveyard.
Hmm.
Let's see. Do you see the photo that we're talking about here?
No, I don't
Okay.
actually.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know. It's out there if folks want to have a look at it. I mean,
Right.
I certainly couldn't point to any components myself and say this is for that. Is it's the thing of it is these are all components that are not easily identified.
Right.
I mean, we can tell we can tell what a fuel tank looks like. We can tell what a header tank looks like. We can tell all of these ring components in the stainless steel structure. We can identify those things. We can identify the Starlink Pez dispenser components. We can identify those. So yeah, we can identify those things. And by the way, I'm going to repeat what I said on my own channel. If you guys, certainly encouraging folks to contribute to AstroLiz and that GoFundMe page. If you want to help out Ellie and Space's channel, probably super chats would be the best way to do that. So in any event, and amazing, what amazed me on my live stream is lots of viewers went and made matching contributions to me and AstroLiz, even though that's not even what I was asking for. Blew my mind. So I just want to say thank you again to my viewers for doing that. And encourage folks to support this amazing program. I personally know this young lady and her mother and all that wonderful people, and contributing to a fantastic cause.
Yeah. And how do you do that? Did you set that up in your stream beforehand that they could kind of pick and choose where, like,
They just
where to
kind of did
donate?
it on their own. They
Okay.
announced
Okay.
they put a super chat on there. It says, I just gave $10 to you and £10 to AstroLiz and all that. I was amazed.
Well, we have people saying, love you, Angry Astronaut. So if you guys have any questions while we have him here, Angry, you're like extremely busy and kind of hard to get a hold of sometimes because you're working so hard.
It's a 7 day a week job. It's
Yeah.
it's the nature. It's what I signed on for. So
Well, the reason that I reached out to you a little earlier to do a live stream is because you are the go-to person to talk to about Starliner. So let's unpack that.
please, NASA, cancel that program.
Yeah.
The most recent developments are the most disturbing.
Yeah.
We have two major problems with the craft. Number one, the soft linkages, as they are called, with the that connect the capsule to the parachute, have now have been analyzed and determined that if one out of the three parachutes fails, the soft links could snap and give way, and the whole capsule comes down at a suicidal speed of about 300 kilometers per hour when it impacts the ocean, killing the occupants. And if that weren't to happen, there is a particular type of material that they're using to wrap and by the way, this is cabling that goes throughout the entire capsule, hundreds and hundreds of feet of this stuff, and this cloth tape that they use. They recently determined, supposedly they discovered this right before Memorial Day. What an amazing coincidence that they discover this right after an independent safety board determines that they are not taking enough safety precautions. And then all of a sudden, whoops, oh, wow, we found these new problems. It's, obviously those problems were discovered before. And that's why this board was saying you need to slow down, you need to, and Boeing at first wouldn't even admit it. This is another thing that's scary about it. Even after these recommendations were made, Boeing and NASA were going to proceed with a July launch anyway. In my opinion, some people behind the scene said, look, if you don't publicly announce that these problems are there, we're going to go public ourselves and destroy your already sullied reputation. And so at that point, then Boeing mysteriously discovers these things just before Memorial Day. So you've got this cloth tape that is vulnerable is vulnerable to a fire hazard. So you have hundreds and hundreds of feet of cable going through the entire capsule that has now been determined to be vulnerable to a fire. And how could they have not discovered this? I mean, since the capsule flew for the first time in 2019, and it had so many problems with it already, they've had years and years to track down every conceivable issue with this thing, and now there's more. And I can't even begin to imagine the amount of time it's going to take them to go through all the cabling and replace everything that could potentially be dangerous. It'll be next year at the earliest, and the amount of money that this will cost Boeing and the amount further in the red they're going to go, and the further they go into the red, the more it's going to encourage them to push forward unsafely. They need to pull the plug on this thing now.
Yeah. I was watching your other live stream and someone said, so do you think that Dreamchaser will take over for Starliner? And when do you think, like, will you think it'll be a formal cancellation of the program, or you were saying it might be a little bit more kind of behind the scenes?
NASA, I think, will privately let Boeing know that, look, you really don't need to be spending any more money on this. Let's just go. But they really need to cancel it on their side. If NASA tries to forcibly cancel it or whatever, then, you're looking at lawsuits and other sort. I'm sure they don't want to go through that. And at the same time, they really need to get an indication from Sierra Space as to just how viable Dreamchaser is going to be. I mean, Dreamchaser has not flown at all yet. It will fly, hopefully, by the end of the year, assuming that Vulcan Centaur actually flies. So, by the end of the year. So those are big ifs and all that. But once they see Dreamchaser fly, the unmanned version of it, if it holds up really well and it docks with the ISS and everything goes smoothly, then I think NASA will be reassured that this is a viable, replacement. I mean, to be fair, we don't know if Dreamchaser will be any better than Starliner. It hasn't flown yet. I feel pretty good about it, but you never can tell.
Right. Speaking of Vulcan Centaur, are you going to be there for the launch if and when it is?
Yes, that's the plan. That's the plan.
Do you think it could conflict with your move at all?
Could, yeah.
It
could.
We just don't know the timeline on it.
Really. No, we don't. It's sad, but we just don't know. I mean, they were supposed to do a static fire, and then they had problems with those doggone BE4s, and they haven't said anything about it since. And I don't know if that's good or bad. I know Blue Origin doesn't want ULA to say anything about those engines. So, if it's good news, they don't want them to say anything. If it's bad news, they don't want them to say anything. Blue Origin is so secretive. So who knows?
I just feel like it's really frustrating how secretive they are. Honestly, I think it overall, kind of hurts them. I am not sure why they're that secretive. Thank you for the super chat, Ellie and Jordan. Thanks for making my afternoon great. I guess we are putting smiles on people's faces, even though we're talking about not the greatest stuff. I saw that the SpaceX CRS-28 commercial resupply mission slipped until Monday. I was supposed to be in Florida, and then I tore my labrum. So I feel a little bit relieved knowing that at least the mission keeps slipping. So who knows? I could have been stuck there for a while. But yes, we have quite a few people, over 330 people watching right now. The Beauty and the Angry Beast.
That's about right.
I wonder who's who. Let's see. Interesting. It's been reported that Bezos has made large donations to environmental charities. Could this be the origin of the next lawsuit? Didn't hear about that. Have you?
No, and it's not the origin. I mean, to be fair, the organizations that are spearheading this lawsuit, this is definitely in their wheelhouse. The Bird Conservancy, this is absolutely something that they are concerned about. They don't give a damn about space. Their objective is to protect endangered birds on Earth. And this is a sensitive wildlife refuge. There are birds like the piping plover and others that are theoretically endangered by the world's most powerful rocket, taking off from here and all that. And I mean, that is what they care about. They care about endangered birds more than anything else. And so, it's in their wheelhouse to do something. So no, I don't think Jeff I don't think there's any puppet master pulling the strings here. I think this is exactly what we should expect from organizations like this. And once again, I'm not even saying that they're 100% wrong. I think that endangered birds should be protected, but at the same time, does that mean they need to be protected and, totally put the brakes on Starship? No, there needs to
Right.
be there needs to be a balance. There needs to be a
Well,
balance.
I'm glad that you're bringing that up because I'll be honest, I've read a lot of the comments and they say, oh, Jordan is siding with all the environmental groups. And I think uh, that doesn't seem to be like you're diehard, environmentalist. You just want it to be, in moderation.
Let's put it this way. I think I think it takes a cold, cynical person to not give a damn about a species going extinct.
Yeah.
I don't think it's right to drive a species to extinction. That's just not a nice thing to do. And so, if there's a
Right.
way that we can avoid doing those sorts of things, we should definitely do it. But there's a balance to be struck, and no, Starship should not, be obstructed, right, or stopped from taking off because of that. And also, yeah, I have been very harshly critical of the launch on April 20th. I think that SpaceX should have waited at least until they got that plate in place, the water cooled plate, take a couple of precautions, because by doing what they did, they gave those environmental groups the ammunition they needed to start a lawsuit. They were itching for some ammunition, and they
Right.
got the ammunition that they were looking for. And that's too bad, because if it had gone more smoothly, then they wouldn't have had a leg to stand on, and now they do.
Well, and you've thought that maybe if they had the plate in time, they could have potentially succeeded on all of the objectives they were trying to accomplish with that first launch. Do you still stand by that?
Oh yeah, I mean, look at. I mean, once again, we don't know, or at least I don't know, and most of the public doesn't know about why we had the engine failures when we did.
Right.
But nevertheless, I mean, that was that concrete maelstrom that was created. Had that not existed, yeah, then the rocket wouldn't have sustained nearly as much damage, and it might have been able to achieve orbit. Yeah.
Right. Well, we do have another super chat from Ricker. Angry Ellie, what are your views on SpaceX repurposing new SpaceX developed electrical Raptor gimbal attitude control, now replacing hydraulic to develop? I see you squinting to auto leveling Starship lunar legs. I'm gonna let you take this one.
I'll tell you, there are so many things about now. Just to be clear, auto levering landing legs on Lunar Starship is super important, because Starship is way heavier than Apollo was, or anything else we're going to be, conceivably landing on the moon anytime soon. It's also tall and kind of ungainly. So if it's setting down on the moon and some of the regolith is softer than others, etc., and there's no landing pad, that sort of thing, yeah, it could topple right over. And so, yeah, auto levering, leveling legs, and any sort of engineering considerations to try to bring that about is an excellent idea. Any way that you can achieve that is better than not having them at all. But of course, the best solution for putting Starship on the moon is to have a doggone landing pad there. It's just not very well suited to land on unsteady ground.
Right.
And there are ways to do that. There are robot probes that can fuse the lunar regolith through thrusters and other rocket engines, etc., to fuse the regolith into an artificial landing pad, an in situ landing pad, if you will. Of course, what I always advocated is that we have Alpaca instead of Starship, a smaller lander, set down first, and have those astronauts build a landing pad for Starship. That's what I always thought was the better and safer way to do it. But that's not how we're doing it, obviously. So yeah, I mean, I just answered. That was a long answer, but yeah, any of those methods to get the auto leveling legs, very good idea, and something we're definitely going to need.
Well, I love your answers and I love how much thought you've put into all of these questions just over your YouTube channel. So here's another question for you from Huevo Sanchez. Have your thoughts on the construction timeline at Starbase changed since your last on-site at Starbase interview with me? Seems to be going pretty good.
Yeah, I no longer believe that it's going to take until next year to launch another Starship. I think that it could go quicker. However, that being said, unless they want to duplicate the same problem they had the last time, they're going to have to test that water cooled plate a lot. They're going to have to do an extensive static fire campaign. At least that's what they should do, to make sure that they don't have a long stretch of time between the second launch and the third.
Right. Well, we do have Supax. Thank you for the very generous super chat. Thanks for the live stream. I love it when you two get together. I love it too. I'm hoping that we can make it more regular. But any update on when we could possibly do a more creative piece that we kind of mentioned before?
That's coming to you this week, actually.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Should we mention it again in case people are in the dark about that?
Well, yeah. I've got a sci-fi channel coming out soon. The first content for that, sort of an introductory chapter, and Ellie's doing is my voice actress for the female characters. So I'm very excited about that.
I'm very excited too. I'm curious at this point, you recently surpassed 100,000 subscribers. So big congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you edit all your own stuff still?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I edit all my stuff too. And I'm not sure why I'm like acting so surprised, but the amount of content that you put out is insane. So
yeah,
kudos to you.
Thank you. But yeah, I've got an app on my phone that I edit with, and it's amazingly quick.
Really?
Yeah.
On your phone? Which app is it?
Oh, what's it called again? I keep forgetting the name of it. But it's my brother recommended UCut, just called UCut.
Really?
Yeah, and there's a lot of features that it lacks, though. My
Okay.
producer keeps giving me hell and telling me that I need to upgrade to something better and all that, but it works very quickly and easily on my phone, so that's what I edit with.
Well, it seems to be working. So UCut, I'll have to look into that. Another super chat from Anthony. Thank you for the $20. I'm a big proponent of environmental safeguarding. I'd like to see some additional wildlife alert systems. They'll get used to clearing out when they hear the warnings. Plus, SpaceX should be able to make a great system.
That's a good idea. I mean, there are certain types of noises and things like that that will drive animals away from a certain area. Perhaps set those kinds of things off to get the birds to clear out before you even launch. That's a good idea, and it's probably now that I've had a chance to read some of the analyses of the takeoff and all that, it's been determined that there probably were a number of birds that were killed during that launch. They tend to be incinerated under those kinds of circumstances, so you don't find much in the way of remains, that sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, anything we can do, obviously, it's better to launch without killing anything if you can.
Yeah. I saw in the original kind of report from Eric Berger that Fish and Wildlife claimed that no animals were killed, but there's no way that's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I read another report afterwards, and they detailed why they think Fish and Wildlife was word speaking a little out of turn when they reported that.
Okay, interesting. Space News Pod is also in the chat. He says, best stream ever. I think that is maybe a little bit of an exaggeration.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. We've known each other for a long time, so always appreciate it, and always appreciate the awesome content over at SNP.
Yes, absolutely. I so wish one of these days we can just have like the biggest group Starship stream of all the space tubers. Like, how cool would that be?
Great.
Especially if we can do it in person at one of the launches. I'm just saying, like, forget Woodstock. We're gonna have space stock.
There you go.
Kind of off topic, but Anthony wants to know: do you like The Expanse?
Best sci-fi series ever.
All right, that is good. I actually never finished it. I got pretty close to finishing it, but I think I need to revisit that for sure. Let's see. I saw another question on here. So let me try to get to it. Well, here's kind of a question. August maybe. What are you thinking? I mean, obviously there's been so many predictions. We don't really know.
Yeah. Sometime in the fall. I mean, right now, Elon updated his, his latest thing saying a month to get the pad ready, a month of testing, which would mean early August, but the way Elon time works, I'd say September would be the earliest we could expect it, and maybe even October.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. What about I met Drew Wayne down at Starbase for the first test flight, and he says honestly, Starship is a terrible platform for landing on another planet, just too tall and narrow. Do you agree with this?
Yep. In many ways, yes, I do. Yes, I do. It's a great way to get lots of payload into space. But if you're going to go to Mars with it, I think it's better to go there and use an aero capture to get into Mars orbit, and then to have a smaller landing craft set down. Yeah, it's a dangerous ship to try to set down on a planet with unsteady terrain, with regolith that can give and take, depending, especially as heavy as it is. Now, if you have a landing pad, that's different, and then that makes it a lot safer.
And Space News Pod says editing a 100,000 YouTube channel straight from a phone. That's awesome.
Yep, that's what I do.
Anything to get it done. Another super chat. Thank you, Chris, for the super sticker. Thank you guys for watching. I've been really enjoying the live streams. How often do you live stream, Angry? It seems like we're doing
once or twice a week. It depends.
Really?
Yeah, if there's events coming up, if there are
Doesn't
things
work.
happening, that like, for example, the ESA live images from Mars, that's something I wanted to live stream. I was also asked a question, why don't I do more launches? It depends on the launch. SpaceX launches are very, very heavily covered. And so I tend to kind of shy away from those unless it's a Falcon Heavy or something like that. But if it's something else, like I really, when I can, I'd like to cover a launch from India. I like to cover launches from Japan. I like to cover European launches, things that aren't as commonly covered.
Okay. What is your next big event other than moving?
Oh boy, actually, that I'm not certain about. I am toying with the idea of doing a lecture circuit before I leave.
Okay. Like in person?
Yes.
And where are you thinking about lecturing?
Let's see, it'd be New York,
You
Boston,
don't sound
Atlanta.
excited about this.
I'm just trying to. Yeah, I guess I wish I had it more thoroughly planned out. Denver, maybe Kansas City or St. Louis, Seattle, San
Wow.
Francisco, LA. Maybe a dozen cities, maybe something like that.
So you're trying to go on tour.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what exactly have you ever done this, or what exactly will you
Nope.
be lecturing about?
It's called How Starship Will Save the World.
Okay, can I cover one of those lectures for my channel?
Of course.
Awesome. I love that idea. Wow, you are just on fire. Seriously.
I'm just very busy. That's all it is.
You're very busy and very motivated.
Just
I love
pedal to the metal all the time.
it. Seriously. Well, Jody, thank you for the super chat. And Jody wants to know, do you think Starliner's failures have opened the window for Dreamchaser? Of course, we mentioned this before, to move up the NASA priority list.
Unquestionably,
Yeah.
I would say that there's a good chance that NASA is thinking that Dreamchaser is going to be the real backup ship for Crew Dragon, not Starliner. I mean, Starliner doesn't even have any real commercial applications besides its very limited mission to the ISS, a mission that becomes more and more narrow with every passing year that they don't launch the damn thing. I mean, how many
Right.
missions could it even have left if they wanted it to? So that being the case, then Dreamchaser, on the other hand, has a very important mission to carry out to Orbital Reef, which is a collaboration of Sierra Space and Blue Origin, and that's going to be the main ship traveling to and from that space station. So yeah, it has a very big commercial, objective. Plus, they're trying to sell Dreamchaser to Japan and to Europe. Dreamchaser is compatible with the Japanese H3 if and when that thing can fly successfully, and with the Ariane 6 if and when that flies.
Have you ever been to Japan?
No.
Okay.
My brother's about to go there for the third time. He's leaving in September for Japan for the third time.
I have that on my list. I was trying to go this year, and now I've re-injured myself and may need another surgery. So I don't know, but I will go at some point. And I would love to, cover something with JAXA. I just think that would be so cool.
Yeah.
Do you follow JAXA much?
As much as I can, yeah. I did quite a number of episodes about the H3 and about their pressurized rover, the Toyota Moon Cruiser, as it is called, and their resupply ship, both to the ISS and to the Lunar Gateway. They have a lot of things in the works, but unfortunately, the failure of H3 recently really torpedoed JAXA in a big way. That was another mission that they couldn't afford a failure on. There's too many companies that are backing themselves into these corners, taking forever to get their rockets ready to go. So when they are ready to go, they don't have time for a test flight. Instead, they got to put a payload on it and hope for the best.
That's a good point.
It's very bad.
Man, you're covering all of it. I feel like it's hard for me to keep up with, SpaceX and then the occasional other American company. You're covering all of it.
Well, I don't cover SpaceX nearly as thoroughly as most of our colleagues do at all. So I don't know a tenth of what a lot of these people do when it comes to SpaceX and Boca Chica and all that.
Well, I want to give a big shout out to Bimmer Geezer. Thank you for the very generous super chat. He says he thought this started at 3 p.m. Central. Well, we're glad that you could make it and join us. Thank you for the very generous super chat today. Let's see. Trying to catch up with the comments. You know how it is. Trying to do multiple.
I can never keep up
things at once. Let's see here. We got a lot of highs from all over Canada, Ohio. Angry, come to Nashville, please.
I was just in Nashville not that long ago. I took my son there. My son is a huge music. He plays 8 instruments and he loves the blues and he loves jazz and all that. So we went to Nashville for a while.
Wow. And thank you, James, for the super chat. Wow, people are feeling very generous today.
That's wonderful.
Let's see. I think Wicked One show, correct?
Of course.
Yeah. Your next big thing is the butt battle, Vulcan Centaur versus Starship.
That's true. I keep forgetting about that. The tattoo thing. Yeah.
Wait,
that's still up in the air. Oh, geez, my tattoo. Do you know about the tattoo thing?
I vaguely recall. Tell us.
Well, I first of all, I had to reach 100,000 subscribers. I'm there. So now it's if Starship manages to complete a successful orbital mission, that is to say, orbits the Earth and at least tries to land somewhere off the coast of Hawaii, as long as it gets there, and it does that before Vulcan Centaur can deliver Peregrine to the moon, I will tattoo SpaceX fanboy on my butt.
Okay, and what if it's the reverse?
That's how certain I was that Vulcan was going to be. It was a more mature rocket, and that it was going to get there. I'm even wearing my shirt today, but now it's anybody's guess. I mean, it's now with the latest development with the Centaur test article upper stage, and now the BE4s. Oh boy, they're messing up again. What a shock! So yeah. And anything could happen. Anything could happen now.
Would you live stream this tattoo session?
Nobody wants to see that. No, I'll provide proof if people want to see it. That's about it.
Oh my gosh. That's pretty ballsy of you, because you might have to get that tattoo.
I wanted to get to 100K. I think I had 70,000 subscribers when I had started that. I'm not sure.
Wow. And I'm just about 70,000. So it's funny how close you feel to 100K, even though I'm still, 30,000 away. It just feels like it's right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
What made the biggest difference for you getting to 100K?
Oh, it was a neat moment. I mean, it felt like a weight had been lifted and that sort of thing. And YouTube feels that you've been catapulted to a different level. They just reached out to me and said, we want you to have a talk with a consultant about how to get your views up and such. I need to
Wow.
schedule that for this coming week. Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of cool.
That's awesome. They are not calling
And
me with that.
no, they were very proactive. That was nice, and could certainly use the help. There's no question about that. So
Yeah. Here's a question about the Lunar Starship. Do you really expect Lunar Starship to look like it does now? More and more, I'm expecting something different, two parts, perhaps. What is your prediction?
I don't know. I mean, we've seen the starships now, the ones that don't have the flaps and fins and that sort of thing. The thing of it is, though, we don't have a whole lot of time to develop these ships. If indeed NASA wants to put astronauts on the moon in 2025 or 2026, there isn't a whole lot of time for substantial engineering changes to take place. Now, I mean, Lunar Starship could evolve into something substantially different as time goes on. But the Lunar Starship that will put astronauts on the moon for Artemis 3 and 4, unless we're willing to wait a long time, it probably isn't going to change too much from what it is right now.
Well, we have a few more. We have a new member, Sue Pax. Thank you for joining
Hey, good job, brother.
the channel.
Thanks. Good for
And
you.
another super sticker from Tank Watcher Vince. Thank you, who is also one of my patrons. And a generous $20 from Todd Heath. So,
Awesome.
wow, you guys are really coming in strong today on this Sunday. I really appreciate that.
Fantastic.
And it might be a good time to mention your fundraiser again, just for
Right
the
again.
folks. Yeah.
AstroLiz, the AstroLiz crowdfunding. Yes, indeed, please go to that. And there's a crowdfunding going on. This is for an organization started by this young lady in Britain, trying to bring more attention, more opportunities to young women in the UK who want to enter into a career in space, a career in STEM. This is something very important to me personally because my own daughter is in STEM. She's tomorrow leaving for North Carolina to begin work as an intern working on modular nuclear reactors, modular nuclear power, of course, being what we're going to be using on the moon, what we're going to use on Mars, etc. So I very much would like to see this supported. And to my viewers who have been supporting my GoFundMe, support this instead, please, this week at least.
Awesome. Cool. Let's see. We're getting a lot of comments. It's hard to keep up with them all. Another super chat. Thank you to T. Jobs. Why the sunglasses today?
I think I always wear my sunglasses when I appear on your show, don't I? I don't know. I think there's a dichotomy that happens here.
Yes.
If I wear the sunglasses, so.
I don't think that you wore the sunglasses though when we did the interview down in Boca Chica.
Well,
You were
that's
wearing your
probably true.
glasses.
When I was on close to the pad and all that. Yeah, that's true. I wasn't wearing the glasses then.
Yeah. And I do think that it was kind of funny recalling that. By the way, thank you for shipping me my patch.
Yay!
So I left this patch and I also had a lei from the SpaceX party that I wasn't even at, but someone gave me these souvenirs. Did you end up eating that cookie?
No, I didn't.
Did you just throw it away?
No, I just kind of I was in a rush to get out the door, so I just kind of let that go.
You were not a huge fan of the Tesla.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that. Actually, there are a
Okay.
lot of
Okay.
things I loved. It handled well. It was fast. There's a lot of really cool things about it. It was just a little. The only thing I didn't like about it was it's the fact that it hallucinates from time to time and does the phantom braking thing. That was disconcerting.
But
I
this
don't
was
like.
your first time driving a Tesla.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, it was neat.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, I know a lot of people on my channel are also Tesla fans, which is why I bring it
Right.
up, but
Yes.
it was
You
it
have
was
to really
interesting.
plan out your journey, there's no question about that, and it
Yeah,
takes longer to do a long distance journey with a Tesla, it just does. It takes a while to charge it up in between and such.
right, right. Um, and you're still planning on September for your move?
Yeah, actually, I'm probably gonna leave last week of August. I've got, my flat reserved, in Milton Keynes, just
Wow.
did some more confirmation of that, this last week. So yeah, big stuff coming, and I'm in the process of selling everything I own here. So I'll
Wow.
uh, I'll ship 1 cubic meter worth of stuff to across the Atlantic. That's what I'm trying to keep it to. I'm only going to bring 1 cubic meter worth of freight, and it's stuff I don't even really need that desperately because if you send it over via ship, it's going to sit in customs in Plymouth for weeks, maybe months anyway. So.
So I'm not too familiar with where exactly you're going to be living compared to like the spaceports and European space operations. So how much of a commute will it be for you to cover stuff in person?
It's a very centralized location in Britain. So unless you live in Scotland, it's going to be a long trip to Saxiford. It's
Okay.
to where a lot of the launches will take place. But it's an equidistant, from Scotland as it is from Cornwall, for example.
Okay.
And there are
Okay.
more things happening in Cornwall all the time now that they're shipping over the sex bomb, as it is called, this hypersonic test article from Space Engine Systems. I think that they may be doing a lot of test flights with that thing here very soon. It is a Mach 5 hypersonic prototype, and that's going to be based out of Cornwall and flying out of there.
Wow.
So that should be a neat thing to see.
Well, my goal is that once you're moved and settled in, that I can revisit the UK or Europe. I haven't actually
Sure.
been to the UK, but I haven't been to Europe since I was 14. And
Oh, okay.
so I'm sorry, no, I was 11. So does it really
Oh,
count? So different.
okay.
So I would love to, do some European space coverage with you at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to do that. Definitely
Yeah,
looking forward to it. There's
that'd be
lots to
really
cover. There's lots happening. Another nice thing about Milton Keynes, where I'm going to be, is it's really close to almost all the operations for the UK Space Agency. Just about everything they do is right around there.
well, and I love that even though you're from the United States and you were living here, you're kind of like their go-to space reporter, it seems.
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah, I didn't expect that at all, but they were so happy that, that there was somebody who traveled across the Atlantic who was taking a keen interest in what they were doing because really there wasn't anybody else. And so, they
Right.
had their local people, ITV, BBC, all that kind of stuff, but nobody from the United States. So yeah, they were very happy to have me over there.
Wow. Uh, Bill, thank you for the super chat. Great live stream, Ellie. Another surgery. What happened? I'll just give you the too long, didn't read version. Many of you guys know I broke my femur in March. My recovery was going amazing, probably better than anyone would have thought it would be. And then in physical therapy on Tuesday, I was doing a single leg exercise and I heard a massive pop in my left leg, the injured leg again, and couldn't walk. So I went to the ER. They took x-rays of my leg. The bone and the rod look fine, but I'm like, I can barely walk now. What happened? They did an MRI and it turns out I tore my labrum, which is like the cartilage in your hip area. And then I also sprained my ligamentum teres. So this is just a bunch of medical jargon to say that I may need to have another surgery. We're still waiting to get an assessment from a new orthopedic or yes, a new surgeon. So anyway, not happy about that, but I'm just trying to distract myself. And Jordan, earlier you posted something on Twitter about going back to gratitude. I think yours was about envy, but really, even when I'm depressed over this whole leg recovery and kind of being laid up again, it's like I'm trying to remind myself to be grateful, because there's a lot of things that are going great in my life right now. And it's easy to get hung up on, oh, I'm, frustrated, I'm sad, this is out of my control. Why did this happen to me? Type of
Yeah, I
thing.
can see how this would take a toll on you, definitely. But as you can tell, you have a lot of people who support you out there, and that's a good thing. So
Yeah.
that makes
So,
me feel good too.
yeah, I mean, you probably feel it too. We have an amazing
Yes,
group of space enthusiasts on the internet from all around the world. So we're very lucky to do what we do.
we are
Um,
very much so.
Barney, who I see in the comments all the time, if you come to the UK, we need a meetup. Yeah, we should definitely do that.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
tell you, the British are very good at showing up to meetups. Let me tell you, no matter where I've had one, no matter how short the notice was, people still showed up. It was amazing.
Wow. Wow. Well, Ken has a super chat. Thank you for the $10. Why can't rotating the Starship provide the centrifugal force to help move fuel in low Earth orbit to transfer to another vehicle? Just subscribe to Ellie. Thank you for subscribing.
Well, you got two ships working in concert with one another. I mean, yeah, I could see that maybe being a solution. But you have two ships, of course, working together in order to try to accomplish that. Maybe there might be a way of doing it. But of course, if you have the ships on top of one another, you rotate in one direction, the fuel goes one way with one ship and one way with the other. So I don't know. I mean, maybe there might be a way of making that happen. And of course, they've already, in the time that they've been talking about this, they've already changed their plans on how they're going to be handling the refueling anyway. At first, it was tail to tail or nose to nose or what, or actually at first it was the ships on top of one another. Then it was tail to tail. Then it was back to the other way of doing things. So yeah, I mean, I think that this is just going to be a very big engineering challenge trying to make this work.
Right, right. Um, Thank you, by the way, James, for the super chat. And we have a new member, Bill and Ricker. Thank you for the super chat. Glasses are angry astronauts trademark for years. Yes, you're not at a funeral, I don't think. Airframer Boeing had knowledge of McDonnell Douglas Captain tape wire wrap that burned fuse like in 1998, Swiss Air that killed 229 souls.
Well, thank you for that information. I actually didn't know that. But
Really?
yeah, I didn't know that. However, it wouldn't surprise me if Boeing had information on, something in that ship being potentially risky and deciding that they're going to take a chance with it anyway. Wouldn't
Yeah.
surprise me.
Um, wow. Well, I know that we wanted to keep it to an hour. We're about, you know,
Yeah.
8 minutes out from an hour. So I won't keep you here for too long, because I know you're
Thank
probably
you.
just going to go back to editing.
Gosh, yeah, it's a busy day ahead of me. Definitely, still got stuff to do.
Now, we talked about a few things, current events in the space industry, but was there something that I didn't bring up that has been on your mind?
No, you've covered things very well, I think. I mean, we talked about Vulcan, we've talked about Starliner, we've talked. I guess the main thing is again to keep bringing up Europe as I often do. For those who don't follow my channel quite as much, what's happening with need to look over other
Sorry,
common
this is
future
so
positions. Oh my dear God in heaven. Yeah, that's a great that maybe that is the solution. The what is on the cusp of happening in Europe is very big. There's a lot of launch providers who are planning to go either this year or next year, and Saxavord has done so much to build a robust vertical launch facility, and they have a lot of companies who have invested and spent a lot of money in helping them build those pads and then leasing ownership. Rocket Factory Augsburg for one of the pads, that they've completed recently. Astra for another one. We'll see what happens with Astra. They're a company that's struggling. But even if Astra doesn't make it, they have ABM. There's just a lot of companies to be launching out of there, and the launch cadence is 20 to 25 rockets per year, a rocket every 2 weeks launching out of there. So there's a lot of, and that's just one of a number of spaceports, and not just in Britain. There's the Andoya spaceport in Norway, another spaceport in Sweden. There's a lot of stuff about to take off literally in Europe. And I am very excited about all of that. Can't wait to cover it.
While I have you, I did notice on your live stream that you said that you don't cover a lot of launches anymore from like a live streaming point of view. You agreed that you would cover the next Falcon Heavy launch, but why is that?
Well, I mean, for one thing, it's a lot to try to, which launches will I cover, which ones won't I? Everybody covers SpaceX for one thing. I mean, there are a lot of YouTubers out there who make their business out of doing live coverage of SpaceX launches.
Right.
They cover them, and just everybody and their dog is covering that stuff. I don't want to oversaturate that market. I have no desire to compete with those people who do it better than I do. I'm not going to oversaturate that. What I would prefer to do is to provide commentary on things that other people don't cover. If somebody's going to launch a rocket from India, I'd be interested in covering that. Launches from Europe, obviously, I'm going to cover that. When Vulcan launches, I'm going to cover that. Those sorts of things, and also Falcon Heavy launches. But I do not have the time to cover every Starlink launch, for example. I mean, SpaceX is launching. It's a good problem to have, isn't it? They're launching so many Falcon 9s. It's just insane. And I don't have the time to do that, nor do I have the capability to do it as well as other channels do.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I haven't really done like the kind of live streaming during the countdown and a launch from my computer. So that's kind of a new thing for me. But people seem to like it when I did it a few days ago. So maybe there's someday in the future that we can collaborate on one of those. I don't know. You seem to be the pro compared to me on that. But
there are people way bigger pros than I am on that stuff. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Angry, for spending some time with us. Again, I had no idea that you're thinking about doing a tour, but I hope you do it because I'd try and join you if possible, at least to one location.
I'd love it.
And I know that you're very busy, so we appreciate your insights, and you don't seem too angry today, so that's good.
No. Thanks for inviting me. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I think it's funny that your name is Angry Astronaut because you are truly one of the nicest people I've met. So,
well, thanks for saying so. I guess you don't get to catch me on too many bad days.
No. angry and happy astronaut. So thank you. I guess we should shout out your cause one more time, the AstroLiz Fund. And this is specifically for young girls in the UK?
Yes, you want to pursue a career in space.
Yes. Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and I'll let you get back to your Sunday. But thanks for the space news update, and I'll see you soon.
Take care.